All right, so I'm going to respond. Got a comment. Normally I don't care. Honestly, you tell me what you think of me, and the reality is I probably don't think of you at all, which is Don Draper, right? Don Draper from Mad Men, but that's usually how I live my life. Don't care. Don't care. I never thought of you at all anyway. So hold on to what you think of me. But this seemed worth responding to. Clearly, I won't say the person's name. I'm not looking for any kind of repercussions against that individual. I looked at their did a little Google search, look at their Twitter account, and I think there could be some mental illness there, honestly, and I hope they get some treatment on that. If they see this video, I was concerned. I was concerned with what I saw, some of the things they had posted. I think it was a troll, right? I think they're trolling, but the text of the comment, which I will actually read in the video and respond, really was symbolic, embodiment, reflective, a lot of the problems we have in society right now. So in that sense, I think it's worth responding to. I think a lot of people may have similar comments, similar attacks against them, especially going into an election year. So this person got political, and I don't think I've ever actually shared my political ideologies on this channel intentionally. If you think you know my political ideologies, you probably don't, right? Because intentionally I'm not trying to go down a political route. That's not the purpose of this channel. We may discuss some aspects of the election as we go into 2024. It may be hard not to. We'll have to see. No guarantee on that either way, but somehow you can see that. You can see that in the comments. The only reason I'm going through it is I think there's value. I think there's value for other people. We have this discussion, and as much as it will be one-sided, I will read through the comments, and for the sake of anonymity, I will change the names, clearly, right? Not looking for any kind of retaliation against the individual. Once again, hope they seek medical help. But as I was reading the comment, there's a song that came to mind, which was Stan from Eminem. I know not a lot of people are Eminem fans. I'm old. He was rocking it back in the day. Not talking about him now or his politics now, but back in the day, Eminem was certainly a player. So I'm going to jump in. I know I have to be careful with copyright and whatnot, but I'm going to jump in, play a few seconds of this song, put you in the headspace before we jump into the comments. So for the sake of anonymity, in mind of Dido, right? Dido's song, Eminem Stan. I'm going to change the names to Stan and Slim. So in this case, Stan's going to be the one that wrote the comment. Dear Slim. We're going to go in with Dear Slim here and lead off from there. So Dear Slim, you're slowly killing yourself with the ultra-processed food. First off, it's not even real food, but nothing more than commodity crops, genetically modified, covered with pesticides, and worst of all, contains vegetable seed oils. So I'm going to pause there and say, Dear Stan, right? Dear Stan. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong with a fair amount of that. And actually, you probably haven't watched the channel, and that's okay. We push for self-sufficiency here, right? I do. We actually have a rather large garden. 35 by 80 is a fair-sized garden, and not so much in 2023. And we talked about this about our year in review. It wasn't practical for us to grow an abundance of things like vegetables, but in the past we've actually grown vegetables and gave away vegetables, and I'll get into that. We process our own pigs. So we raised 2 pigs in 2022 that we butchered end of year. They produced 600 pounds of pork, fresh pork, best pork you ever had, bacon, sausage. We harvested that. We raised that. We harvested that. Non-GMO, right? No pesticides, no medication. We never doctored the pigs. We gave them love and the best food we could, and we harvested their meat, and we've still been consuming that. So 600 pounds of pork is a fair amount of pork. Even if we ate a pound a day, that's almost a year's worth of food between the two of us. We had to buy a new freezer. I had to buy an upright freezer on that, and we've been sharing the pork, and actually shared pork with a friend that helped us butcher them out. So in that sense, I get it, right? We're trying to raise our own meat. We're trying to run our own garden. We have the turkey coop. We actually processed 10 turkeys, 20, 30 pounds each. So that's almost 300 pounds of turkey meat that we shared. We shared with friends. We canned some of it. So between the pigs and the turkeys in the last, we'll say calendar year, more or less, couple months, I've grown 1,000 pounds, 900 pounds of meat, 800 pounds of meat, whatever you want to call it. I'm rounding up to 1,000 pounds of meat we grew ourselves. All extremely healthy, right? Said no medications, no doctoring, nothing. Just fresh, home-raised meats, fed the best food, given a lot of love, great conditions. And then there's the chickens, right? We raise our own chickens. I produce a lot of eggs. I did a video on it. On paper, I could live on my own eggs, right? We could be claimed to be self-sufficient, live entirely on eggs. If you've ever tried that, and I think when we first raised chickens, we got pretty close to living just on eggs because you don't know what to do with the eggs. It's not fun. It's really not fun, but eggs, I haven't bought an egg from the grocery store in a long time. We feed them. We feed them to the dogs. We feed them to the pigs. We share the eggs. We give eggs away to anyone that wants them for free. We always have. We produce our own food, so I'm with you 100% on that. Does that mean I don't go to the grocery store? No, it does not. I buy cows. We've purchased cows over the year from a local rancher. You get 400 pounds of beef, something like that. 500 pounds of beef, depends on the cow. Once again, very healthy, very fresh, well-treated meat. So I generally don't buy a lot of store-bought meats. When the garden's going, I don't buy a lot of store-bought vegetables, though sometimes we do. If you've ever tried to be fully self-sufficient and raise all of your own food, it is not easy. It would take more land than I have, and land in my neighborhood's about $100,000 an acre. So the idea of just buy a bunch more land, it's not an option. Maybe someday we'll go bigger, but there's the time. I spend hours every day just maintaining the homestead, taking care of the animals, especially in the cold. It's wintertime. In the cold, couldn't tell you how many buckets of hot water I got to carry out to the animals to keep them alive, right? We go great lengths to ensure our animals' comfort, health, and certainly keep them alive in the cold. Put a lot of money in that. I spend more money on feed than I do at the grocery store. So you're telling me, don't eat processed foods. I'm with you. I get it. I suspect, Stan, I'm going Stan here, you go to Whole Foods, right? You're probably talking about going to Whole Foods and getting your organic food, and that's great. Mine's better. My stuff's better than that. But the idea of you're never going to eat processed foods, understood. It's not the best stuff. We go prepper pantry if you're talking long-term food storage, if you're trying to build out a pantry, if you're trying to survive in this world, some of that's unavoidable, right? Some of that is inevitable. Sometimes you need that convenience of something that's ready to go. So I would never look down on anyone for what they eat, right? We're all trying to survive. Life is expensive right now, so don't do that. Don't look it down on people for what they eat, and maybe don't tell people what to eat, right? We're all just trying to survive, and that's not always easy to do. So it's my first deer stand. We're going back to Slim here. All right, in your video, I'm looking at a rather large belly, potentially fatty liver, type 2 diabetes or worse. So we'll jump into that. First, I call it a dad bod. It's a 2024 dad bod. People like dad bods, maybe. That's what I hear. That's what they tell me. I call it a dad bod. I did actually have fatty liver. Thank you for pointing that out. And I mentioned in a video, so end of 2022, going into 2023, we did keto pretty hard, and I actually lost some weight. I think it was about 10% of my overall body weight. Went to the doctor for my physical and said, hey, what's the story with my fatty liver? Because I did have fatty liver. And he said, hey, you're cured. So I cured it. I cured the fatty liver, lost some weight. I don't have diabetes. I would never make light of diabetes type 2, type 1. My mom has diabetes. I have friends with diabetes. Diabetes is not fun, not something I would wish on anybody, nor would I assume if anyone has it just because they got dad bod. We're talking dad bod. So we'll keep going. Eat real food, not factory crap. Okay. Fair enough. Good advice, but once again, don't put people down for surviving, right? People need to survive. For those of you who think the world will end next week or in a more realistic scenario, be snowed in or natural disaster like an earthquake, having one of those long-term food storage things would be something to have. Okay, fair enough, right? So you're agreeing, I believe, and there's some contradictions in here, and that's okay, Stan. Having a long-term food storage pantry, probably not a bad idea. We do can vegetables, and those have a pretty good shelf life. We can meats, and those have a pretty good shelf life. As I said, we canned probably 6 entire turkeys, 20 to 30 pounds each, so maybe you could say 200 pounds if I'm stretching an exaggeration. We can turkey. We can stuff, but we buy stuff too because I live in reality, right? I live in a place I like to call reality. In terms of will the world end next week, think the world will end next week. Well, I hope it doesn't. Actually, I don't. I will say I don't. Stan, I don't think it's going to end next week. I certainly would hope not. I keep all my stuff here, so if the world ends, what happens to all my stuff, right? But I've done some videos on this, and if you're a prepper, certainly you've been confronted more than likely with this type of an argument before, or maybe you may at some point. There's a curious case of the mathematical tinfoil hat prepper. I don't remember the exact name right now. He uses hydrology math, and it's a great article. I'll give you a link if you ever want. Look it up. Basically, what they look at is the types of events, right, that's happened in the history of our country: Civil War, Revolutionary War. Do hydrology math, look at the likelihood it's going to happen in your lifetime just in America, right, which is skewing the data significantly. There's about a 37% chance, right, that something actual horrible national uprising could happen at any point in anyone's lifetime. And I've got another video I made a long time ago. I think it's just stuck in the queue, right? We release our videos every week. I build up a queue. I make them when I can, guys. I work full time, take care of the homestead full time, do a lot of chores around the house, just trying to survive. So I make the videos when I can. We try to release them on a consistent schedule. Video I did a while ago might be stuck in the queue, and that happens. Sometimes I offer no apology, right? I'm not making real money here. I'm making the videos. Maybe someday I do it. We do it. I do it. My wife helps. We do it because we enjoy it. But I do what I can, right? So I did a video on it, and it talked about the history of prepping versus homesteading, right? Homesteading's been around for quite a long time. And the idea of a homesteader is you'd go out into the wild, you'd go out into uncharted land, into the wilderness, settle the land. Our country needed people to settle America, settle the country, and the homesteaders went out and did that. And you would set up a homestead, a farm. You would be self-sufficient. You would grow your own food. You would build your own house, right? You would survive, create a family. You would thrive, right? You'd have to survive through the winters. So in that, you're a survivalist, you're a prepper, right? You're not going to get through a winter without being prepared. The term prepper is relatively new, but the idea of being prepared for, say, a long winter, for a disaster, for a catastrophe, for a civilization-ending event, well, I'll tell you, man, every great civilization through history has ended, right? So be it Rome, which was one of the greatest civilizations, arguably the greatest civilization to ever exist on this earth, ended. Every great civilization ends at some point. So it can happen, right? So I believe the idea that you don't need to be prepared, that you're crazy for having food stashed away from the winter, not only is that new, right, that's a byproduct of our just-in-time globalized world of, you go to the grocery store, you don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore. You call Uber Eats, you call any of those services. I obviously don't use any of them, and they just bring it to your house. What do you want? Hey, man, I think I want Subway right now. Hit the phone, pop, Subway sandwich, you're eating it. In the middle of a blizzard, some crazy kid's going to drive out, 16 years old, driving through a blizzard to bring you your Whopper, right? And you get that. You're like, why would I ever need to stash anything away? The world just brings the food to my mouth. I can sit on the couch, I can use my app, and I'm good to go. I'll tell you that throughout history, the history of humanity, that's not common, right? This is a new phenomenon. There is no guarantee this society civilization, that this will last throughout your entire life, through your entire existence, right? You look at the world, the number of wars in the world, famines throughout history, all these things. Being a little prepared for winter, being prepared for something, not a bad idea, right? So when someone gives you a hard time about being a prepper, doomsday cult, and there was a second comment we'll get into, idea of being in a cult, that was more of a PS, it was a short comment. Okay, right, I don't think of you at all, Stan, I really don't. But you look at history at all, right? And the world, the fantasy world you're living in is not normal. It's not the norm throughout history. So we'll keep going. I'm lingering here. So, okay, we'll keep going. Dear Slim, we'll say. However, all of you patriotic, rugged individuals who cling to the Bible and guns. I'm going to stop there. It didn't end with a period. Be honest, Stan, when I first read that, I read ruggedly handsome, right? Actually, I'll be honest, maybe that was just my head. So patriotic. I read ruggedly handsome individualists who cling to Bible and guns. You didn't put that in there, so I'm taking that out. Patriotic, sure, man, sure. It's not an insult. Rugged individualists. I'm not taking that as an insult. Maybe you meant to say ruggedly handsome. Maybe you just meant to say rugged. Okay. I mean, what's the alternative, man? Come on, Stan. You want to not be rugged? You want to be dainty, right? Where are you going for with this here? You want to be effeminate? You want to be weak, right? Is that what we're saying? I mean, where are you going with that? Patriotic, yeah, man, rugged individualist. So individualist is interesting. Do I feel that I would maintain my individuality? Sure, I would take pride in being an individual. Does that mean I'm a lone wolf, that I live in my own little world? Absolutely not, and we'll get into that. We'll come back to that. But the idea of being individualist, if that was meant as an insult, I will take it as I'm an individual. Look at my content, look at what we're creating. You don't know me in real life, but I don't copy people, right? I'm doing my thing, just doing what I can, stuff that comes to mind. People that know me know that. So I consider myself an individualist, doing things my own way, never giving up, right? Who cling? We'll keep going, right? Who cling to the Bible and guns? Come on, Stan. Clinging. So I'm instantly thinking of the Titanic, scene from the Titanic, where Jack is clinging to the door, and Rose, I think it was Rose, is on the door with the chickens or the dogs. You pick your meme, and he's clinging to bare life. Clinging implies that I'm holding on tight to my Bible and my guns. Why would I need to? Why would I hold on tight? For fear. You hold on tight, you cling to something because you're afraid. You're afraid that someone's going to take that away from you. Tell you, Stan, I'm not afraid, buddy. I'm not afraid that someone's going to take away my guns. I'm not afraid that someone's going to take away my Bible. Reason being is I live in the United States of America, and we have the Constitution, and it guarantees my right, not my privilege, my God-given right to my guns and my Bible. Don't need to cling, buddy. You may visualize hiding, holding on tight. Oh, please, Lord, don't let them take my gun. Oh, please, no. No, sir, that's not necessary. I actually live in a Second Amendment sanctuary county. They voted on that. My rights to bear arms are actually protected through the Second Amendment sanctuary and the Constitution. I have no fear. Of someone taking my guns away. It wouldn't be pretty, I'll tell you that. I'm not making threats against anyone or anything, but cling to the Bible and guns? No, sir. I can understand why you would want to visualize that way, that fear, that tight grip. Don't take them away. No, sir. Stan. Come on, buddy. We're not hanging on to anything. The government, dear Slim, the government is not coming after you. Period. Trump is certainly not going to save you. Whoa. So which one is it, Stan? Is the government not coming after me? Or is Trump not going to save me? If the government's not coming after me, why would I need Trump to save me? Who's he going to save me from? From the government that's not coming after me? I don't think Trump's going to save me. Trump's not my savior. We have one savior, and it's not Trump. Right. But pick one, man. Is the government coming after you? You work for the CIA, FBI, NSA? Homeland Security, FCC, IRS, any of those organizations, do you know? Have you looked at the list? Is my name not on the list? I would hope not. Certainly no one needs that. But to say the government's not coming after me, unless you know you don't know, you're making stuff up, right? Is Trump going to save me? Well, no, right. I know that. I know he's not going to save me. He's not here to save me. He's here for you, buddy. He is here for you, win or lose, right? He's not here for me. Try to be more part of your community than against it. Dear Slim, try to be more part of your community than against it. All right, Stan. So you don't know this, why would you? So back when we had the last pandemic, right? We had a big pandemic hit. And things were a little tight at the grocery store. Maybe it was just our area. Maybe it was everywhere. You couldn't get eggs. So what we did, we had chickens. We have a lot of eggs. We have a garden. We had a little wagon. Actually had a little wagon. And what we did, we put our masks on, right? Got to keep it law and order. Didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable. We loaded up the wagon with eggs and vegetables, bags of vegetables, all stuff we've grown ourselves. We wrote notes saying, hey, please accept these vegetables. Please accept this food. We grew it ourselves. And we went door to door, and we actually left throughout our neighborhood. Eggs, vegetables, knocked on the door, left the note, and left. It went door to door. So I try. Where I can, I try to be part of my community, right? So what's the flip side of that, your community? Well, from what I'm seeing in here, I'm seeing a lot of insults, right? Instantly insulting, threatening almost, right? I should be afraid. I should be afraid my guns are going to be gone. I should be voting maybe the way you want me to vote, right? I see a lot of your community. Stan, and I don't want to be part of it, buddy. I just don't. So try to be more part of your community, not against it. I am. You don't know that. You don't know me. But that's okay, Stan, right? You don't need to know that. So the other comment is more of a PS, postscript, bizarre, these end of the world types, right? Sounds a bit like Jim Jones and Guyana, right? Doomsday cult, he says. Doomsday cult, end of the world types. Well, if you've got your head in the sand, Stan, everything's going to be all right. And I hope everything is all right. As I said, I looked at some of your stuff. I'm not sure you're well, and I hope you get medical attention in terms of psychological evaluation, something like that. I don't mean you any ill will, Stan. I'm not giving out your name. Once again, I think a lot of people hear this stuff now. I think this is a poison in our society, right? There's two sides. Right now, our world's clearly divided into sides, Stan and Slim in this case, right? I don't think Eminem would agree. Probably wouldn't like the video too much. I know what side he's on. I don't want your food, buddy. I don't want your food. I don't want your politics. I don't want any of that stuff. Just want to live my life. And, be left alone, right? So I hope that helps out, man. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.